Barbecue, business, and brotherhood. The Holy Smoked story. Welcome back to the Passionate Palate, a podcast for food lovers and culinary explorers where we talk about various foods, flavors, and ingredients from around the world. I'm your host, Zay. Today's episode is all about smoke, fire, and flavor. I've got two special guests, brothers-in-law from New Jersey who turned their love of barbecue into a booming halal smoked meat business called Holy Smokes. They're known in their family as the Pitmasters, and they do catering and food festivals. One comes from the world of construction, the other from business management. But together, they're building something amazing with barbecue. Let's dive in. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad and Abdullah. Welcome to my show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. I'm so excited for this episode. So tell me, how did Holy Smokes begin? Was it born over a backyard cookout, or did one of you just wake up one day and said, let's start a barbecue company?
I would say a little bit of both, but I'm going to let my brother-in-law handle this one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've both been cooking, grilling, barbecuing for a really long time. We've always done it for fun, like it was a passion project always. Like we've always loved just barbecuing, feeding the family, feeding extended family, just sharing the love of smoked meat with everyone, hosting big parties, big cookouts.
Wow.
So it's always started off as we just like doing it for fun. I mean, we are really passionate about food, and we love feeding people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I would just point out one more thing.
Yes.
When we say feeding family, typically people would imagine that's like 8-10 people.
Huh?
Our average family gathering is about 40 people
Wow.
on any given day. Adults, children of all different ages. So when we're cooking for our family, I mean, we're going through about 40, 50 pounds of meat usually.
My goodness.
On a typical cooking day.
But I'm sure it's really fun, and they all just wait for it.
Absolutely. I mean, we start flipping food off the grill and just feeding people like albatross at certain points.
Wow. But at times like that, I guess you don't get to enjoy because your happiness is cooking for everyone else and seeing their faces enjoying your food.
Easily. Plus, then we don't have to engage with everyone. We just get to stay behind the grill. It's a win-win.
Nice excuse, exactly. So why the name Holy Smokes? Was it meant to capture your faith, the halal aspect of it, or just like, holy wow, that's good moment after a bite?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of all those things. I mean, we were trying to encapsulate a play on the word, smoked meats, obviously being that that's our primary focus. Being that we are serving everything halal, we wanted to have some kind of, gravity to the name that way as well. Ironically, it was also the same time that the new pope was being elected. And so the concept of the Holy Smoke being coming out the pipe was kind of like in the news at the time. So it all just felt like it was really relevant and it
Wow.
worked together well.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
and also it was just kind of fun to say Holy Smokes.
I know it is, right? It is. It's like, it's a quote too, like for anything, not a quote, but like, how people just say, holy smokes,
Yeah,
and
common
it's,
saying.
and yeah,
That's what we want people to say.
and it's unforgettable.
Exactly.
So your brothers-in-law and business partners, that's a very bold combo. What's the secret to keeping the family and business running smoothly together?
I mean, I feel like we don't ever put business first as a priority. We always just try to have fun with it. We don't worry about any of the money or any of the expenses or anything like that. The focus is like if we're making money or losing money, and we're usually losing money, but we always try to just have fun with it. We just like the experience of doing events, feeding people. Even if we don't earn anything from the event, we just have a good time doing it.
Yeah, I think that's key. The passion and love goes into it. If that's your motive and you have heart in it, then, that'll always be successful. Tell us about your first event or your catering gig. Like what went right and what went completely wrong.
So our first ever official event was actually the ICPC Eid Bazaar Festival.
Oh, okay.
And talk about being thrown to the wolves. 5,000 guests expected that night.
Oh my
We
God.
saw a line forming at 8:30 for a 9 p.m. event. And that was Yom Arafah. Everybody was already fasting on top of that. I think at a certain point, the Imam, Sheikh Atalani, had to announce on the microphone to the people to come inside to pray because people didn't want to lose their spot in the
Right.
line.
My goodness.
So yeah, learning experience for sure.
Right.
We learned quickly how to fill and maintain orders and keep the line going.
Uh-huh.
It was a busy night. It was really cool. They had to actually reassign security to our line because our line was getting so long. But it was definitely a learning experience in terms of how much food we needed to actually have prepared.
Right.
We sold out of a lot of items quickly. We learned like what our popular items were, but it was awesome feedback. It was a great experience, and we got to meet a multitude of people from not just our community, but also the locals of Patterson that came out because they just smelled the food. Like people coming out of their
Right.
houses to come over just to take a bite.
Wow.
Yeah, it was also just the weeks leading up to it, or the days leading up to it. There was just so much prep involved, and
Yeah.
there was just a lot more than I expected it to be
Right.
leading up to it. I figured, oh, it's easy. We just cook some food and have it
Uh-huh.
ready. But you don't realize all the smaller things, all the little details that you need to make sure are
Right.
exactly right before the event. And then also just transporting everything and having people there to help us set up and break down.
Right.
I think the event we stopped serving around maybe 1 a.m. and I don't think we completely finished and got home till about 4 or 5 a.m. that day.
Goodness. And that was your first time?
And that was the first
Wow.
time. I mean, since then it's been a lot easier. We've streamlined the processes. We figured out how to set up and break down a lot easier. So now we're a lot more comfortable just flying through events
Right.
and not worrying about it too much.
Right. That's awesome. How do your roles differ? Who is the pitmaster and who's the one in charge of like the operations?
For operations, I feel like we're both pretty well versed in it. We both kind of have our own inputs for setting up. I usually handle the payment processing and stuff like that, and the back end of the financials and stuff like that. I also do most of the smoked meats, like the actual hard smoked meats, like the longer, slower cooks.
Mhm.
So the briskets and the ribs and stuff along those lines that take time.
Yeah, so Abdullah is technically the pit master of the business, and
Okay.
then I guess I'd be like the grill master.
Okay.
We actually, and again, this where like I guess the construction background comes into play. The same way that Abdullah handles like the back end operation with the finances, my skill set in the construction, for example, I was able to custom build our grill top. So we actually
Wow.
used two 26-inch Weber kettles. I had a custom table that was built out by my ironworkers team, and then we have a stainless steel company that we do all of our commercial kitchen build outs for.
Mhm.
Great husband and wife couple. They've been in Clifton for years. I took my table over to them. I
Mhm.
explained to them what I wanted. It's 18 gauge stainless steel. It's outdoor rated. It's waterproof. We have removable
Wow.
shelves below. It's on caster wheels. So we're able to roll this double 26-inch, stainless steel grill to any one of our sites,
That's amazing.
and we're able to grill right on site. So anything that's getting a hard sear, any of our steaks, our smoked chicken, our lamb chops, that's all cooked right there on site. People can see it, people can smell it.
Wow.
It's awesome being able to have that mobility to transport that around.
Yeah, of course. Can be easy, but you got it figured out. That's amazing. Barbecue is about patience and skill. What's the first meat that you ever smoked and how did it turn out?
Yeah, I think the first thing I've ever smoked was I had purchased for some reason, my first smoker I ever purchased was an offset smoker that was a very high skill level smoker.
Okay.
Definitely not beginner friendly, where you have to build your own fire and manage everything. And
Right.
it was very hard to maintain that. And I remember setting it up the first time and throwing on, I believe it was just a bunch of like chuck steaks.
Mhm.
And I remember taking them out afterwards, and it was just like the smokiest possible meat you could ever have. It was not good. It was very like astringent and rancid and just
Wow.
like way too smoky. It tasted like burnt
Right.
charcoal. And I mean, ever since then, it was just constant testing and switching smokers to something more manageable, something more easy for home use, because the one I was using was
Mhm.
much more for professionals. But over time, just like, yeah, learning to use the equipment better, and because every smoker is completely different. It's not going to be one recipe for one piece of meat for everything. Every piece of meat is differently cooked, differently. Like even the same cut of meat can be cooked 100 different ways, and there's always something that goes different with each
Right.
cook. So it's hard to get consistency, and that's something that you just have to learn how to deal with, especially when cooking a lot of food for an event, because not every brisket we cook for an event is going to be the same, but we try our best to
Wow.
try to keep it
Okay.
consistent.
Part of that is also, I would say, two things. One is learning your equipment. So every grill, every smoker, it has its hot spots, it has its cool spots, it has its areas that are better ventilated than the others. So knowing how to move the meat and manipulate the equipment is very important. And I think the second part is perfecting your technique. I mean, what we're talking about, like from that first brisket till now,
Right.
and this is about 3-4 years in the making.
Wow.
So getting it down packed to the point of knowing how it is that we're going to season our briskets or season
Mm-hmm.
our meats in general, how long to marinate the chicken for, what cook temps to start at. Like there's so much technicality to smoking meat that a lot of people don't necessarily know or appreciate. Like
Right.
if you start a smoker too hot, you shock the meat and then it loses all its juices.
Mm-hmm.
The primary focus of a brisket is to lock those juices in. So starting from a slower temp, raising it up slowly, allowing the fat to render so you're not biting into like these large chunks of fat that would be difficult to
Right.
consume. There's a lot that goes into it. And so
It's like you.
one
It's like you had to
side of it
babysit it.
essentially,
Wow.
and you have to babysit because the meat gets spritzed every hour with a mixture of like a water and Worcestershire mix, different sizes of meats. Sometimes they're a little more lean, sometimes they're a little more fatty. So learning how to treat each one of those. And then also learning other people's techniques. So obviously brisket is something that's born out of Texas barbecue.
Right.
And so we do a lot of research and we keep up with what are the people over in Texas doing and how we can also translate that into New Jersey. So, it's not that we're trying to emulate a Texas brisket. Obviously, we put a New Jersey spin on our
Mm-hmm.
brisket, but when it comes to technique, we try to keep it that consistent because it's a
Okay.
tried and proven method. So creating that good bark, making sure our fat's rendered, cooking all the
Right.
way through, the holding times and the temperatures, like those are all very important things. And that's what, as you saw yourself on that cut of
Yes.
brisket, I think that was a money shot. And that's
Yes.
how we try to
Beautiful.
make every single one of our briskets
Right.
look.
Wow. I'm learning so much as we are talking. Like it's so easy for people just to come stand in line, wait for their food, and just eat whatever, right? But the amount of trouble, the effort, the knowledge, the experience, and the mistakes made to perfect it, it's something I think it's important that people know.
Absolutely. The term master that comes after the pit or the grill, like, it's taken lightly, but really it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of time and effort that goes into that. 12, 14 hours, 16 hours of your day going to this.
Wow.
And a lot of times, by the way, most of our events are during the day, which means the
Right.
cook is happening through the night.
Exactly.
So we're up the entire night making sure that that piece of rib or that
Wow.
brisket is being smoked to perfection as it should be, because we're not going to serve our clients anything less.
Right. That's very impressive. So talking about Texas barbecues, Texas barbecue is legendary. What's one thing you learned from Texas barbecue culture that you bring into your cooking in here in New Jersey?
I mean, the biggest thing you could take away from Texas like barbecue culture is that there's a certain type of passion you need to have to deal with barbecue, because as most people in Texas will even talk about, it's not really like a business where it's like a profitable, easy money business. There's a lot of labor costs, there's a lot of food costs. On average, like a brisket, you don't really make much money on even after all the processing and cooking and selling.
Right.
It's a very, very
Wow.
expensive cut of meat, and it takes a lot of fuel and a lot of seasoning and a lot of just actual labor. So it's definitely, as every like good pitmaster will tell you, they do it because they love it, not because
Right.
they want to make money off of it.
Right.
And just learning different people's techniques, because every Texas pitmaster has a completely different look on brisket. They have a completely different technique. They have their own little methods they do, the way they trim it, the way they cook it, where they put it on the grill, the temperatures, when they wrap it.
Wow.
There's so many small nuances that you can affect. And we've tested, well, before we started the business, we started with like 20, 30 briskets of just like
Wow.
different testing, different methods, different seasonings, just to feel it out. And our families
Right.
were sick of brisket
I was just going to say that.
a couple of weeks of that, because we kept telling them, "Hey, try this. What do you think about it?" And
Right.
we were giving out to everyone, be like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?" So there's definitely a learning curve and figuring out what we like and for our style and how we serve things at events. So if we're doing a brisket mac and cheese, for example, as our main
Mm.
item, we'll make the
That mac
brisket
and
a
cheese.
different way. We'll try to make the brisket a different way to make it more
Right.
shreddable
Right.
for the mac and cheese. We don't want like hard, thick slices on a mac and cheese because it can be hard to eat.
Right.
So just like there's small nuances in changing depending on the event and depending on the time of event.
Right.
Also depending on the type of people we're serving. So we do research before each event of like what type of people are going to be there, what demographic are we serving? Is it mostly younger people, older people? If we're serving older people, we'll try to make a softer cut of meat
Right.
versus if we're serving younger people that want like a thicker, like heartier piece of meat, then we'll
Wow,
do
that's
that.
interesting. Yeah. There's so much that you don't even realize, you know. It's like when you're discussing this is when I'm like, wow, there's so much that goes into it. You have to even think about that, who you're serving.
I don't I don't even think we realize the extent of what we actually know because
Right.
there's even talking about it now, I'm like, oh yeah, there's actually a lot more detail that I didn't really think about. It just feels like it's natural at this point where we
Right.
just think about these things without really putting much thought to it.
You know that the brisket and mac and cheese I had at that event that you were at last time. It was incredible. And that mac and cheese, like, wow. Did you guys come up with that?
That yeah, the brisket mac and cheeses are by far our top
Wow.
item, I'd say. Like that's almost a staple at every single event now, and it almost makes us not want to serve brisket any other way because it's
Right.
just it's
Oh,
a
that's
fun thing and
delicious.
it's an easy festival food too because
Yeah.
it's hard to eat like a traditional barbecue platter on
Right.
the move. So we want something that's like compact and that you could just pick up and eat nice and easy.
True. And who doesn't love mac and cheese?
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
classic.
And the mac and cheese with brisket is just one of the best combos out there.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you on the mac and cheese side of things how many orders we serve of just plain mac and cheese. Like
Really.
we'll do a brisket mac order and the same customer will come back and say, "Hey, can I just get a
Mac
side
and
of
cheese.
just the mac?" Or my kids love the mac, or I love
Ah,
the mac. What's in the mac? So like, yeah, we're talking about, for example, the meats, but our sides also get a lot of attention
right.
too. That roux sauce that comes in the mac, like there's a lot of effort that goes into that. There's multitudes of cheeses that go into that. I'm sure you know with everything you've experienced with food, like trying to maintain the texture and consistency and heat on a mac and cheese is not easy. We're
Yeah,
running thermos on steam trays, mixing
exactly.
small batches at a time, keeping the pasta separate from the cheese so it doesn't all
Wow.
coagulate.
You do that
Like,
too,
there's a
huh?
lot of science. Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Like, there's so much that goes into it. Because again, we don't ever wanna serve something that is not visually appealing or is not something that I'd be happy to eat myself. So, every time we're scooping in that mac, we're making sure that that consistency, that texture is
Wow.
all there, because if not, every one of those bites is not gonna feel the way that it should.
Right.
The breadcrumbs on top, adding that crispiness, giving it some
Yeah.
texture. That's all, very important to the dish. So, and there's other sides too that unfortunately you didn't get to experience, but we do make, for example, our own homemade coleslaw.
I love coleslaw. That I can't wait to
We
try
do a
that.
really good, like, a vinegar-based coleslaw, so it keeps things light.
Right.
We also do, like, our own homemade pickled onions, which is a great combo
Oh,
with the meats, yeah.
right.
Any type of acidity is always nice because it cuts the
Absolutely.
hardiness of the meat.
Right. Wow. So talking about the meat, what's the trickiest cut of meat to get just right? I know we were talking about brisket and stuff. Is it still brisket?
I would just say I'll let Abdullah answer the brisket side of it, but I will say one good thing about the other meats, like chicken, for example, it's almost dummy proof.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
chicken is served at, 165 degrees. You
Yes.
can take that temp all the way up to 180 sometimes, 'cause
Right.
we're only serving the dark meat.
Hmm.
So when we make, like, our own wings or we do the thighs, we're obviously it's always cooked through, but there's a little bit more leeway
Hmm.
on the chicken. The brisket's the one that takes perfection. I'll let Abdullah explain exactly
Okay.
why.
Yeah, the brisket in general is probably the hardest piece of barbecue to get right in general. A brisket is made of two muscles.
Okay.
There's the point end and the flat end, and they're two different cuts of meat. They cook differently. They have different cooking temperatures,
Wow.
and the skill to master a brisket is knowing how to cook it extremely evenly, where you get point that's not too soft, and you get the lean side that is not too dry. Because that's the biggest thing. Getting the lean soft is incredibly hard to do, and that takes a lot of patience and a lot of time. Because a lot of times you'll get the point will always be good. It has a lot of fat in it. The lean has almost no fat. It has a small little layer of fat on top. So you really have to like baby it and make sure it's okay. Sometimes you have to wrap the lean separately from the point, and that
Wow.
varies brisket to brisket. So if the brisket's not shaped well, then we have so much variation, and we have to like make sure to take care of that. But getting a full brisket that's balanced is very difficult.
That's so interesting.
And even now with the experience, like we still find ourselves messing up the brisket sometimes. Like it's not always going to be
Right.
that perfect consistent thing.
Right. But listen, as long as it tastes good.
Yeah, that's the
That's
goal.
the yeah, I know. But it's so fascinating, like for those who don't know, like some people be like, they'll just eat it, right? It's just for the sake of it. Oh, I want to try smoked meats, and they'll eat it. But no one really knows what the science behind it and how much, knowledge you need to cook it. Not anyone can just get a brisket and just throw it on the smoker and cook it.
No, no, it's it's definitely not something you could just take for your first for your first smoke. Definitely not.
Wow.
And you mentioned the science thing. I actually have a very big science background, and I've done
Okay.
a lot of work in food science and nutrition. So I take a lot of food science to like the next level when I'm discussing biscuits and figuring out how to like render fat properly and how to maintain heat and maintaining juices and everything like that. It's all very science backed.
That's awesome. So, okay, now give me a story. What's the biggest barbecue disaster you've ever had, and how did you recover from it? If you've had one.
I don't know if we've had one that was that extreme, like to an extreme extent. Maybe on now barbecue disaster. Are you talking about the food or are you talking about the event?
About the food, like whatever that you cook. I think you
I
mentioned
mean,
that maybe right at the
I actually
start.
do have one. I
Okay.
actually do have one. When we were testing briskets, I tried a different method for one of them where I would, after cooking the brisket to rest it, I let it soak in like basically beef broth.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of put it at a low temperature in the oven for about 12 hours before serving it, just to see how, like, if it could maintain juice or maybe rehydrate it.
Right.
And what we accidentally made was I essentially made a deli meat out of it, which I didn't realize at the time, where the brisket turned into a pastrami, and it was very like, yeah, it tasted like deli meat. And it wasn't what we were going for, and it
Right.
was a little like rubbery and dry, but
Okay.
I mean, I think it was still edible. It just
Right.
definitely wasn't brisket.
Basically, my kids were having pastrami sandwiches for lunch every day for about 2 years.
That's what I
And
was gonna
so
ask.
that's what we did, yeah. So what differentiates a brisket from a pastrami, by the way, is the fact that the pastrami's brined. And so I guess the science end of it, what happened is the brisket's sitting in the juices and the beef broth, it absorbed it, and that brined the meat, turning it into essentially a pastrami.
Wow. Now I'm asking because I'm not sure. Is pastrami, does it come from like the cut of brisket?
Yeah, so a brisket can be
Oh,
you can do 2 things with a brisket. You can turn it into a pastrami or you smoke it and you keep it as the brisket meat itself.
no way.
It's
That's
just 2 different
awesome.
cooking methods.
Okay.
So a brisket gets a rub.
Mhm.
So classic Texas style would be, granulated salt, like a kosher salt, a rock salt, and then some
Right.
kind of 16 mesh pepper, larger pepper, some kind of binder. People use different things. You can use mayo, mustard, and then a pastrami would get brined for at least 24 hours so that
And pastrami could actually go. Usually, it's cured for about 7 days before cooking. So they'll soak it in a solution of spices, salt, and a curing salt, like a pink salt, and that
Wow.
just takes like about a week or so to fully penetrate, and then it is smoked afterwards. I mean, there's also every way to cook brisket. Like people make like corned beef is also a brisket cut,
Right.
and the only difference with that is that it's boiled first and then roasted.
Right.
I mean, brisket's popular used in a lot of things. I mean, people cube it up and use it as chuck roast a lot of times, or they'll put it into a burger because it is a really tough cut of meat. It is the probably the most used muscle on the cow
Okay.
because it is what is holding up their legs when they're standing, and cows don't sit. They're constantly standing. So
Right.
it's a very load-bearing muscle, which is why the fibers are so thick and which is why it is so hard to cook down properly.
That's so interesting. I'm learning so much, and I'm gaining more appreciation of this whole process of it. So, food festivals and catering events can get hectic. I'm sure you know by now. What's been the most memorable, everything went wrong, but we pulled it off moment?
I would say probably the first event we did actually, because there was so many things that went wrong leading up to it, and then even day of and during as well. Yeah, but I mean, we made it work, and that's when we got our first like moment of oh, this could work because so many people were telling us like how much they loved everything and how everything went well. Like I thought things would take a lot, like the work would be a lot quicker the day of, but I remember getting there super late uh, while everything was already set up with all the meats and stuff like that, just like packing the cars and like loading everything properly. We definitely had too many sides for the first event. We thought it would be a lot easier to deal with all the sides, like having
Right.
coleslaw, pickles, mac and cheese, and everything from scratch in one day was a bit much, especially like individually packaging stuff. You could tell the chicken story.
So, speaking of meltdowns on events, so obviously our chicken's a very popular item, similar to the brisket. So we were doing our bone-in chicken thighs that are smoked and then they're glazed, and then we allow the glaze to caramelize. It's a really good bite of chicken, super juicy, crispy skin. Our house-made barbecue sauce on top.
Yeah, that was
So
delicious.
we're moving this chicken like you wouldn't believe. I mean, people are buying combo platters of brisket and chicken, and it's going, it's going, it's going.
Okay.
So obviously, we utilize a commercial kitchen for all of our storage and prep space. So what we had done is we brought basically one large container was about 40 pounds of chicken with us, and we left the second container at the commercial kitchen site. And we had said in our head, like, okay, if we run out,
Right.
we'll just have it there because we had no way of keeping it stored properly on
Mhm.
site. So about halfway through the chicken, I'm running the grill in the back. I let Abdullah know, like, "Hey, we're gonna probably need that chicken
Right.
run." So we asked, our friends to grab the other batch of chicken for us, and so they started making their way over. Yeah, it's, like, literally almost 2 hours passes, and at this point, all the chicken's cooked, the grills are going,
My
but they're empty,
goodness.
and all we have available for service is what we have cooked up to that point.
Right.
And then we get a call saying, "Hey, we took an electric car and the battery died,
My
so
God.
we couldn't get the rest of the chicken back over to us." So we were 86 on chicken for the rest of the event. That was probably by what, like 10 o'clock, 10, 11. And I'm telling you, if we made that second batch of chicken, we probably would have sold that out as well
Wow.
because the event ended at midnight and we still had lines. We were still serving till 1 a.m. And we were just running out of things to sell at that point.
Wow. That's a good thing because people love your food.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
but to
We were just also
experience it,
stuck with 40
yeah.
pounds of chicken.
Wow. Why do you think barbecue has such a strong community feel?
I think food in general always brings people together. And what's unique about what we're doing, and I'm sure you see it because you're in the food space, especially here in Jersey, New York, Connecticut, there's not a lot of people doing what it is that we do. And again, I think what Abdullah mentioned earlier about one, it not necessarily being the most profitable of businesses, and two, the time and effort that it takes to do this. If someone's doing this as their full-time job for a living, I can see it being very difficult. But for us doing it out of passion, I think one, obviously there's a level of enjoyment and love that we have in doing this and feeding people. And I generally do believe there's a level of barakah from Allah that because our hearts are in the right place,
Mhm.
we see the reaction of people when they take that first bite. And like there's nothing more fulfilling, honestly, than
Right.
that. And that I think that's what kind of brings everyone together. Like I can't tell you how many times we'll tell people like, "Hey, we're gonna be at this event," and people will go out of their way to
Mhm.
show up because they love the food. Obviously, whether they have the capacity to do it at home or not, like it's always easier if someone else is smoking a brisket for you. And
Right.
it's a lot easier to buy one portion of our food than to get stuck with a 20-pound brisket at home. And
Right.
like, there's only so much you can have at home. So like there's a level of convenience that we're satisfying for our community. There's definitely a big community feel for what we're doing. And
Absolutely.
I would say again the uniqueness of the food. You can go just about anywhere in Paterson, and you
Mhm.
can get yourself a gyro, a shawarma,
Mhm.
a chicken over rice
Right.
platter. But to get quality smoked chicken, to get briskets, some of these private events that we do also, we're putting out like USDA prime tomahawks, 3 pounds
Wow.
each, 2 inches thick. We're cooking it live in front of our guests. They see the flames going. There's a level of experience that you get
Right.
that you're not getting from other caterers or other
Right.
vendors. And so I think that's what kind of makes us a little popular
Right.
and different from everybody else.
And the vibe, it's like a live barbecue happening, you know?
Of
I
course, and
guess that's
we bring that energy, and I think that energy that we bring, again, it's stemming from our passion for it. And I genuinely do think that our customers, our clients, they feel that too. And so you get back what you put in,
right.
and we do put in our heart and our soul and our efforts into it, and that's our payoff, honestly, getting that reaction back.
That's awesome. So, what's your favorite memory around the grill with family or friends?
I mean, I think my favorite memory in general is just like that I have everyone lined up around me when I'm unveiling the brisket for the first time after it's been wrapped and no one's seen it
Right, right.
for 12 hours or so. where I put it away and I take it out, and when I finally put it on the cutting board, take my giant sawing knife. I should
Yeah.
have brought it with me to show the prop. I have like basically a sword
Really? Wow.
for brisket. Yeah, it's a brisket sword, and it's about a foot and a half of blade, so it's more of a show thing. But I think that's the most fun part is the show.
And the oohs and the ahs of people watching.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone gathering around the brisket, unveiling it, making that first slice down the middle to reveal the inside, and watching the juice flow out of it,
Wow.
and just seeing everyone's reaction of just like, "Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like, hurry up,
Yeah.
slice me some."
I'm getting hungry just
And I think
listening to
that's the
you.
most fun part. And even at, like, live events or, like, even catering events, having that moment of everyone gathering around for the brisket and doing that first
Right.
slice is always my
Right.
favorite.
That's awesome.
I'll share with you this one fond memory I have when it comes to grilling. I remember the first time uh, I was at my in-laws' house, we were grilling, and initially my father-in-law was like the grill master of the house,
Okay.
Abdullah's father. And I remember he had asked me to like do the grill because he was going to be doing something else. And my wife came over to me and she was like, I don't know if you know, but you've been endowed like a huge responsibility. You
Wow.
better not screw this up. Like, this is make
Right.
it or break it for you right now. Like,
Right.
this is the ultimate test that my dad could have given you. Fast forward to today, my mother-in-law will tell you like the ribeyes that I make for her is hands down her favorite. And anytime they're
Huh.
over, I make sure that I have some ribeyes going on the grill because from that day till now, like I essentially kind of took over that role where I'm the one doing all the grilling for the family.
Wow.
So that was a real
That's very
nice,
special.
I actually have another similar story to add on top of that, where, uh, I recently got engaged and my
Congratulations.
thank you. My, father-in-law has always been known as the grill master, quote unquote. He said that all the time. So had them over for barbecue that I made
Uh-huh.
them, and I made a bunch of, ribs. My father-in-law just kept telling me, and my, fiance is telling me, like, my dad makes really good ribs, like, that's his specialty, like, he loves ribs.
Mhm.
I'm like, "Okay, we'll see about it, like, we'll see how I do." So, as soon as he took his first bite and he was like, "Alright, I'm not making ribs anymore."
Oh,
He threw in the towel, he's like, "You handle the ribs from now on, that's it."
wow. For him to say that, he was
Yeah,
like blown
absolutely.
away. That's so special.
Actually, another one of my favorite memories is when we did that catering event for that family where they had a bunch of family fly in from Texas.
Mhm.
They were having a gathering, and most of their family just happened to be from Texas. And we asked them for a review after the fact, and they all said how much like this is exactly like a Texas brisket, and like we love it, and like it's exactly what it should be. And
That's an
that was
ultimate
really big for us.
that's an
Getting that
ultimate
much
compliment.
like recognition from someone from Texas is a huge deal.
Yeah, that's an ultimate. It's an ultimate compliment. So, are you more on the traditional side of barbecue, or do you like to experiment with like new flavors and fusion?
I think for the most part, we keep it as traditional as possible, especially with the rubs and the methods
Right.
for brisket and stuff. But then most of our experimentation happens with our other meats, I would say. Like brisket shouldn't be touched for experimentation as much. I mean, we have played with it a few times, but
Mhm.
I think the traditional feels better for brisket. But when we do like chicken wings, we'll do a sweet and spicy honey soy garlic
Mhm.
glaze, which is something that we kind of just thought up of. And like even with the lamb, we've doing like a Turkish spice.
Okay.
Like we're just trying something different. Like not just we're trying to keep it different, keep it fun, and see what attracts people, and then try to stick with those things.
Right.
the thing is to keep in mind, traditional American barbecue is purely salt and pepper. But again, in order to stand out, we like to have a baseline of maintaining the tradition, but
Mhm.
also having options in other flavors.
Right.
So we've explored a bunch of different things from, even within our own homemade barbecue sauce. Depending on the client, sometimes we'll put in some habanero sauce, something really
Mm.
spicy, so we get like a spicy habanero barbecue, which
Right.
adds a really nice kick. Like you mentioned with the wings, that's something that, we kinda took a gamble on, but it's definitely very popular. Again, it's a homemade sauce, it's honey, there's garlic, there's soy,
Right.
fresh scallions on top, sesame seeds. So, like, it's just there's so much flavor going into something as simple as a chicken wing.
Right.
That's really just how you elevate. Again, chicken for the most part is a very basic thing, so it's on us to make it that much more tasty and delectable. There is one thing I'll mention. I've kinda been playing with the idea, and I kind of want to see where it goes.
Okay.
Obviously, this all happens off the record in the kitchen.
Right. Test kitchen.
There's a there's a tandoori brisket I'm kind of working
Wow.
on to see how that would taste. Because
That's
obviously my
interesting.
dating background,
Yeah.
I wanted to pull in something where
Right.
we can bring our spices and our flavor in using a cut of meat that we don't typically use.
Right.
There's obviously difficulties that come with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a tandoori spice might burn in the smoker. It's got to
Right.
be lower temp. So there is a little bit of experimentation going on that, but I think that's something I'd like to see if I can roll out, because I can't imagine how good that would taste.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting. But I
Yeah,
guess
the idea I had in mind was kind of like a tandoori brisket with maybe
yeah,
like a garlic naan under it,
that sounds so good.
right? Yeah.
I mean, listen, it doesn't
So
hurt to experiment. Like can you start off with like a smaller cut of brisket and try that?
okay, so here's the problem, right? Cows are very large animals,
Right.
and the brisket cut is one of the largest cuts coming out of a cow. So we can't, like, you can't cut a brisket and cook a portion of it, because you're either getting the flat or
Really?
you're getting right. So
I had no
you
idea.
essentially have to cook the entire brisket. So, like,
Right.
for example, when Abdullah mentioned about us doing all those test batches, it wasn't just a matter of like
God.
feeding our family and like, oh, that was it. No, there's
Right.
plenty of leftover, because each time we were testing a brisket,
Mm-hmm.
it's a brisket in its entirety.
Okay.
So a uncooked brisket's about 20 pounds. Post trim,
Wow.
post cook, maybe 12,
Right.
14 pounds, sometimes 16. That's a lot. An average person eats about a pound of meat on the high side. Females usually a half pound to a third pound. So you can just imagine how many
20
servings like
pounds.
we're trying to
Wow.
dole out.
Mm.
And if you
Wow.
if you were to cook just a single, like a smaller portion of the
Right.
brisket, you're doing two things. You're affecting the rest of the brisket, and you're not gonna get a genuine cook on the cut that you took out. So oh yeah, it's not like, again, I was gonna say with chicken, it's gonna be easier because you could use a piece or two and, try it
Right.
out that way. There's no leeway with the brisket. It's all of it or none of it.
So now I know, when you experiment with that tandoori, please give me a call. I'll be right there to taste it. I'll give you
Sounds good.
my honest opinion. But that sounds really
Awesome.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if someone could try only one dish from Holy Smokes, what would you recommend that will absolutely blow them away?
It would definitely be the brisket mac and cheese. There's no question about it. I think that's our top seller, most exciting item.
Right.
It's the most like different item I think than people have tried.
Right.
Most of the test batches that we made early on, I could eat them consistently with just mac and cheese. That was my like go-to meal prep, was mac and cheese with brisket on top, because just the combination of the smoke and the salt with something creamy and light
Mm-hmm.
is just, it's the best.
And
And I think it's the most accessible. I think most people will try a brisket mac and cheese because it's
right.
familiar.
Right. And being
Or
someone
like
that
giving
tasted it,
someone,
absolutely, I agree with you. That
yeah,
was
because
so
like
delicious.
it could be intimidating to try just straight large cuts of brisket or like a big brisket sandwich. It's messy. It's
Right.
hard to take like a bite of. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to share. A lot of people get the brisket mac and cheese and we'll give them a few forks. So like 3, 4 people can have some. So I think it's just accessible. It's fun to make, easy to eat.
I agree. How do you see halal barbecue shaping the next generation of foodies and festival goers?
I think, funny enough, there's actually a lot of halal barbecue, but not a lot in our area. Like there is a big want for it, especially more towards the south and the Midwest. But I've kind of pushed that innovation in this area because, in general, there's not a lot of barbecue in this area, halal or not.
Yeah.
And if there is, it's usually not the best. But I think it's just something that a lot of people haven't tried or like really understand, because most people even come up and ask us like they're not sure what barbecue is. They're asking us if we have
Really?
cheeseburgers and simple stuff like that. Or like, oh, do you guys have cheeseburgers? I'm like, no, this is barbecue. Everyone thinks of barbecue as like backyard barbecue. They think it's burgers and hot dogs, and it's really something simple. But once they try that first piece of like actual barbecue meat, they understand right away. Oh, okay, this is something special.
Got it.
I'll share a funny little tidbit in regard to what Abdullah just said.
Okay.
We once had a client who was visiting from England who just happened to be in the area at the time of our festival and stopped in,
Okay.
and he had one of our brisket orders, and then he came around to the side of the tent where Abdullah was carving the meat, and he was asking for just more sides of just brisket, and he couldn't stop eating the brisket.
Wow.
And so we had a brief conversation, and he was telling us in England, like, there's just no such thing. I mean, not to be rude to anyone, but everyone kind of knows food in England sucks in general. Like, they don't really have a palate compared to what we have here in America.
Right.
But he was just blown away by the concept of brisket and,
Really.
the way in which it's cooked and prepared and served. So yeah, I like I said, I think there's a uniqueness to what it is that we do.
Mhm.
And to just to kind of recapture what Abdullah was saying about barbecue in New Jersey and
Mhm.
specifically like the North Jersey area,
Right.
the options are limited.
Yeah.
Truly, like, there's not like Patterson has a few places that do like what they call in Arabic the mashawi, like the grilled meat.
Mhm.
But to have like authentic American
Right.
barbecue that's
Right.
also halal in this area,
Right.
very difficult to find.
Mhm.
And so, like, I think that's what keeps our appeal alive. In Texas and the Midwest, like, the barbecue culture is so big. People line up 2 hours before opening to get their, fix of barbecue. A lot of times, people at the tail end of the line, they don't even get their orders filled because things are
Wow.
sold out. It's so popular, and we just kind of want to bring that culture over here, where it's like, hey, look, we're gonna be at this location, we're
Right.
gonna sell till we sell out. Get what you can because we're not gonna be around till next week again, and like to just try to see if we can do that here would be such an awesome accomplishment.
I think so
And
too.
we definitely have the community for it. It's just a
Right.
matter of outreach and getting our name out there in order
Mhm.
to get our client base kind of craving our food.
Absolutely. And also getting people to get that taste and flavor because they are not as familiar with it, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Getting people to try
Right.
a cut of meat that they maybe never had.
Mhm.
There's an interesting thing where, like, a lot of the popular grilled meats here in our area, people are very particular about having it well done and, like,
Yes.
essentially overcooked.
Right.
We make sure to let people know, like, the things we're cooking, it's to temp, but,
Right.
we try to keep, like, a medium rare, a
Mhm.
medium cook to it, keeping everything juicy and fresh. It's important because we could easily make someone a well done steak and like they'll
Right.
be happy with it, but it's not the product that we're trying to serve. Like,
Mhm.
I want you to have a cut of steak that's cooked, you know, perfectly to the right temp that, pull it off at 127, let it cook off heat up till about 130
Wow.
degrees. When I cut into that thing, you should have a nice, beautiful, pink in the middle, a nice sear on the
Right.
outside. Like, all those things really matter because that's
Yeah.
every single bite should just feel like a piece of heaven.
Right. Nice. Okay, so what's one message you want people to take away when they see Holy Smokes at an event?
I mean, I really like how our branding came out and like just our
Yeah,
style
I
for
think so.
things,
I
and I like
love
that
it.
nice, clean, like people can almost like know what they're getting into when they see the tent.
Right.
Where we've been to events where like we see other vendors and like their setup, and we're always like, yeah, our setup, our tent, everything is so much more professional, so much cleaner. I mean, I just want people to look at our tent and be like, I want to try it. And that's usually the first step. But once they try it, it's like, okay, I get it. I just want them to like understand like the passion and the feel for the food that we're serving.
Mhm.
And honestly, it's like a lifelong customer after that. Once they try it, we know already. That's our goal.
That's true. Because I was at the event when I first saw you guys, and it kind of stands out. Like the whole layout of everything. It was like a real barbecue feeling. It was like not an ordinary place that you're just grilling stuff. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's something I think we really dedicated a lot of time to was the branding and our setup and making sure, like, even within the tent itself, I'm sure you saw because you got up pretty close. It's a pretty efficient. I mean, it's a 10 by 10 tent,
Right.
but within that space, we're moving very efficiently. The proteins to one side, our sides on the other. We utilize Cambros, which are these insulated boxes. They hold temp up to 5 hours. Again, it's a legitimate, like, there's nothing that Abdullah or I would ever get into where we're kind of doing half the job. We're either in all the way or we wouldn't even engage in it. I always say you eat with your eyes and then your
True.
nose and then your mouth, right? So we have to have the appeal to bring
Mm-hmm.
you over. When you get close to our tent, you smell the food, you're
Yep.
gonna get hungry. And then when you taste it, it's just we have to deliver and hit home. So we try to focus on all three of those aspects for all of our customers.
That's awesome. And you guys do. So
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. All right, guys. We're going to do a rapid fire round. Quick answers. Okay.
No one more.
All right. Brisket or ribs?
I would say ribs.
Ribs. Okay. Mohammed?
Ribs for sure.
Sauce on the side or sauce on the meat?
Sauce on the side for me. I like a salt pepper bar.
Depends on the cut for me. I think the sauce adds a little fun to it sometimes, or change things up, but probably sauce on the side as well. Keep it.
Okay. Gas grill or charcoal smoker?
It's always going to be charcoal, 100%. I mean, it's in the name.
There's no such thing as a gas grill. Any of your listeners who are listening that have a gas grill, don't be lazy. Get yourself a coal grill. Take the time. Get those coals going. Never use briquettes, by the way. A lot of people use the Kingsford brand briquettes, the competition briquettes. Lump coal, the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
When you're cooking over that lump coal and the fat burns down onto the coal and it brings back that flavor onto the meat, you get that nice sear, the crisp. It's not burnt. That's all flavor.
Wow.
You're not going to get that with coal. Briquettes are going to give you that chemically taste. It tastes really weird. And, cooking on propane just doesn't count to me. You might as well put it in an oven.
True. All right. Mac and cheese or coleslaw? A tough
I'm
one.
going to say no, I'm going to say coleslaw. I'm more of
Really?
a coleslaw person.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I go mac and cheese for sure.
Okay. Dream celebrity you'd love to barbecue for?
I know who. For me, Andrew Perry Lane is like my go-to. He was the inspiration for a lot of what we've done. If you ever check out APL on, YouTube or Instagram, I mean, this guy, he has 1,000-gallon drum smokers running. I can't even tell you how many ribs and briskets, and the way that we use the kettle grill, the 26-inch, he has the large one. It's almost like $2,000, and he's just flipping tomahawks on that thing. It
Wow.
looks like he's beating a meat drum the way he's flipping meat. Definitely my go-to for sure.
I would say Aaron Franklin of Franklin Barbecue in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
He's the one who popularized barbecue culture in that area.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing it since he was a kid, pretty much. And his line for his restaurant, the line starts the day before around midnight, well before, like a good 12 to 13 hours before they open. They have a line starting, and there's people that pay people to wait online for them just to get one piece of his barbecue.
Okay. One food you can't stand that everyone else seems to love.
I'm gonna go with this whole the chicken and gyro over rice platter thing.
Really?
Yeah, you know why? It was popular at a time.
Uh-huh.
It's just become so commercialized now. You rarely are gonna find like an actual lamb beef gyro mix that's not, the Restaurant Depot special coming off and being shaved and chopped. Like, it's not what it used to be. And so for that reason, I just feel like it's not. I don't know if you remember, like earlier on, they used to use an actual basmati rice. The rice had flavor, it had some cumin in it, it had a lot of different things going on. The chicken used to be flavored. Now all the chicken is bland. The meat's not real, and the rice, it's just, for me, I'm all about attention to detail. And again, I'm eating with my eyes and my nose first. And if it doesn't look appealing, doesn't smell good to me, I've just lost the interest in it. And it seems to be like it's still a very popular go-to. I get it. It's easy for people to eat, but I rather, I want something that's actually hearty, that's going to make me happy, not just to fill my stomach.
Okay. What about you, Abdullah?
Honestly, I like all food. I don't have any, I'm not very picky with anything, but for an annoying type of food, I would say a lot of these local dessert places that are popping up everywhere, where it's just the same exact waffle.
The copy paste.
Copy paste. Every restaurant tastes the exact same, very overly sweet.
Right.
No sort of depth to anything, where it's just like as much sugar as they can, get people hooked, and move on.
That's true. All right. Where do you see Holy Smokes in the next 5 years? Food truck, restaurants, nationwide sauce line? I mean, your barbecue sauce is like off the charts.
So, I mean, I think we agreed when we first started this business that we never wanted to grow to the point where we can't manage it ourselves. And it's always been like a passion project on the side. It was never going to be a full-time thing. I mean, we like the experience of just making barbecue when we want to and serving what we want to. We don't ever want to have to commercialize it for the point of profit or maintaining a business. I mean, down the line, I just hope to get big enough to the event space where, I'll let you answer, what you want to talk about.
just going off of what he was saying, to grow into a space where we're just hosting our own events. Like right now, we sign up for, as many food festivals as we can, as many events that come up and come around. But I think the plan or the hope for us would be to just host our own events, like just in a parking lot somewhere and just sell our food. Like
Right.
we don't need live entertainment and like, a petting zoo and all these other things going on. We just want to sell our food, have some tables set up. I just want to see people enjoying the food, there for our food, and that's about it. And like, sell out by 2 p.m. and get to enjoy the rest of my week. And like that's
Nice.
really the goal,
Right.
because this isn't something that we're doing to like basically make careers out of.
Okay.
The payoff again is just feeding people and seeing the enjoyment on their faces, not necessarily to line our pockets. And so something like a storefront just wouldn't work for us.
Right.
You can't make a brisket and not sell it the same day and then try to recycle it the next.
Right.
You lose the freshness. The quality is everything for us, and so I don't ever want to be in a position where we lose our quality control. A lot of places, they'll make a brisket, they sell what they can, and then with the rest of it, they'll just pull it and then make like sandwiches the next day and all this
Right.
other stuff. If you're not having a brisket that was smoked, 12 hours prior, you're not having a brisket. You're just having ground beef served in,
Right.
any different way.
Makes sense.
So we just want to stay true to what our intentions are, which is good, fresh barbecue.
Right. Okay. So what's your favorite restaurant and what's your favorite dish there?
I don't know if I have a real answer. Okay. I actually do have one. My favorite restaurant that I can think of recently is this place in Los Angeles called Howl and Ray's. He perfected the like Nashville style hot chicken sandwich
Okay.
to an extent where literally every time I'm in Los Angeles, I go a lot of times specifically just to go get that sandwich again.
Wow. It's
And it is
better than
by
anything
far the
here
best.
in Jersey?
Nothing even close. Every hot chicken places
Wow.
that open up here are not even close to this level.
My
It is just
goodness.
it's literally a perfect sandwich. It's something I
Really?
would give like a perfect 10 out of 10. There's nothing to improve on.
Wow.
And that's a big thing coming from me because I'm very critical
Right.
with
Right.
other food. I review restaurants all the time.
Right. Ah, that's so interesting.
So my answer is going to be a little unconventional. I used to be a fan of steakhouses back before I was making my own steaks.
Mm.
But ever since we got into making our own steaks, I don't think any of these steakhouses even come close. And it's unfair what they're charging people for the steaks that they're making. And now that I'm in the business, I see exactly
Right.
why.
Right.
But I would say this, if I had to pick anywhere to eat and I wanted like good home cooking, I would go back to my roots. The place I mentioned to you
Yes.
earlier off camera, Karai Kitchen.
Okay.
That's my go-to. I mean, it's the closest thing to my mom's cooking that you can ever get in a
That's so
store.
sweet.
They have a famous saying where it's like no butter chicken here, because they're not making like these commercialized desi dishes. Everything is exactly what you would find in your own kitchen. So they never disappoint.
Wow. Okay. So what advice would you like to give someone who wants to start their own catering food business?
Don't do it.
No.
A lot of people can't handle the headache and the mental toll it takes on you just to organize and set up. Like it is very difficult to run a food business. I've tried running or opening food businesses in the past, and it's just one of the most difficult things anyone could do, especially at this time in the economy. I mean, when the economy goes down, restaurants are the first thing to get hit.
Absolutely.
Labor is expensive, food is expensive. You have to sell so much and you have to be so popular in order to even break even.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that. I think they think food is easy, it's cheap, it's easy to sell, make a profit on, but there's so many expenses, and it's honestly such a headache to maintain a food business. And the biggest problem with it too is like if one person has a bad experience, you've lost a customer for life. And it's something a lot of people don't realize.
I would also add this in. A lot of people don't realize how much technical stuff goes into running a food operation. Like you might have a great dish and it's your grandma's 6th generation recipe, and that's awesome. And I'm sure like everyone enjoys it. But when it comes to food service, the things that come with licensing, food handling certifications, every township has their own vending license. Like there's a lot of administrative stuff that goes on the back end that a lot of people don't see. And that's where having a partner is really important too. There's like a perfect marriage, I would say, between my brother-in-law and myself, because our backgrounds really come into effect in a lot of this. I'm so accustomed to being at city town halls submitting permits and building applications that like getting these vendor permits and stuff like that, it's almost become second nature for me. Like it's very customary.
Right.
I can imagine for someone who's never been down to a city hall or dealt with the health department, like all of this might seem very like unconventional for them.
Right.
Even at the event, sometimes you'll have the health inspector come. They want to temp your meat and stuff like that. Again, I
Really?
have construction inspections that I hold all the time, so
Right.
I'm used to having an inspector on site, and I know what they're
Right.
looking for, and I'm able to make sure that obviously we're meeting all the codes that are necessary.
Right.
So that's definitely something to consider. Most of the places you're gonna have to have a central kitchen that you operate out of, so you're gonna have to have contacts in the food industry that are willing to lease you a space for a central kitchen. All your prep has to be done there, maintaining certain temperatures, handling the food properly, and like God forbid, you're cooking something out of your own house,
Right.
and hair gets into or something's undercooked, someone
Right.
gets a stomach ache. That your name is everything in this
That's so
business,
true.
and there's a lot on the line there. So unfortunately, you might have a great product,
Right.
but if you don't know how to get that out onto the market safely and properly,
Mm.
that's a huge hurdle you have to jump.
That's so true. And that is it's like blunt the truth. You're not sugarcoating anything, And
That's just the food side of things. If you
Right.
wanted to run a truck, that's a whole other variability. The DOT is involved, the DMV is involved, the inspections for the truck separate from the food. Like there's so much that goes into running a
Right.
truck. Because we've also, thought about the idea of a truck too, but it's just
Okay.
like it's not worth it because
Really?
there's nothing in the truck that we need. We don't need the flat
Right.
top. We don't need the
Huh?
the equipment in there. We just need a space and a tent and roll
Right.
out a grill and we're good to go.
Right.
Like at most, I get a fire permit for the coals, and anytime the inspector comes by, you make them a plate. They're gonna let you fly because they're happy just to have the food.
Guys, this has been a smoking hot conversation. It was so interesting. You guys educated me so much on barbecue culture, on Texas barbecue culture, meats, and the process of everything. I really, truly enjoyed this conversation. So what would you like to let our listeners know? Like, where can they find you in any upcoming events that they could come try your delicious smoked meats?
Yeah, so I mean, we're always posting on our Instagram specifically as our main communication source with everyone else.
Okay.
At Holy Smokes Halal on Instagram with our black logo on there.
Got it.
Our next event is actually in Staten Island, New York. It is that very, very large halal food festival.
Awesome.
So there's going to be plenty of vendors, a lot of food vendors, a lot of dessert vendors, a lot of really famous food folks are actually coming to that place. So it's an
Really?
honor to actually be a part of it and outsell them because we know who we are.
Awesome. So that is October 18th, Saturday in Staten Island, right? The Fall Market Halal Food Festival.
Yep,
Planning
exactly.
to be there, so I'm super excited
We'll
to
see
try
you there for
everything.
sure.
This brings us to the end of this episode of The Passionate Palate. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our conversation. If you have any questions for Mohammed, Abdullah, or me, please drop them in the comments and make sure you check them out at Holy Smokes Halal on Instagram and Facebook. And the next event they're going to be at, you guys got to go. You got to check them out. And is there anything you like to let our listeners know?
If you're in the area, New Jersey, New York, and you've never tried American barbecue before, don't miss the opportunity. And I'm not just saying that because I want to sell you food. Genuinely, I just want you to try something that you haven't tried before. I think you're going to appreciate it more than you know.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Mohammed and Abdullah. It was such a pleasure having you guys on my show and just, knowing behind the scenes, your journey to where you are today, the struggles and the successes. And that's something I think everyone should know because it's so easy to go somewhere and eat something and just put a review without knowing the struggles and the behind the scenes. So I think that's incredible.
Thank you for giving us this platform to spread some of this knowledge. We really appreciate what it is that you do because it's people like you that really help small businesses like ourselves kind of get our names out there. Look forward to meeting a lot of your listeners, and I genuinely just hope that I can get the same reaction out of them that I got from you that day in Wayne. It was really heartwarming. I'm glad you and your husband enjoyed everything, and we just look forward to continuing that.
We truly did. And I wish you all the best in the world and all the success with your business, and looking forward to seeing you guys at many more events to come.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
Forward to it,
guys. Thank you guys for
All right.
watching. Please subscribe to my channel at The Passionate Palate and follow me on my socials. And always remember, don't count the calories, count the delicious memories.